Hey guys, tonight we are going to tell a story that hides in the long dark shadow of history. A story about the price of survival. We are going to walk through a door that was locked for centuries into the hidden history of the Forbidden City. But we are not going to look at the gold, the jade, or the emperors in their dragon robes. We are going to look at the people standing behind them, the invisible men. Tonight, we are talking about the eunuchs, but not the scheming villains you see in movies. We are talking about the boys and men who made a bargain so terrifying that it is hard for modern minds to comprehend. We are talking about the process of becoming one, the surgery, the pain, the sacrifice of flesh for a chance to eat. This is a long journey tonight. We are going to take our time. We are going to feel the cold of the Beijing winter, the heat of the surgeon's stove, and the terrifying silence of the recovery room. So, before you settle in, take a moment to like the video if you enjoy these calm, deep dives into the hidden corners of the past. And let me know in the comments where you are listening from and what time it is there. It is always grounding to see our community gather from across the world. Now, dim the lights. Adjust your pillow. Let the tension of your day fade away. Let the world slow down around you. Let's ease into tonight's journey together. Picture this. It is the middle of winter in Beijing, 300 years ago. The wind coming off the northern plains is like a knife, cutting through the thin layers of your cotton tunic. But before we stand at the palace gates, we must understand why you are there. We must go back to where this journey began. We must go back to the village. You are a peasant. Your family has farmed the same patch of yellow earth for generations. But this year, the earth has turned against you. The year began with a drought that cracked the soil into a mosaic of useless tiles. Then came the locusts, a black cloud that descended from the west, a buzzing, living plague that stripped the fields bare in a matter of hours. You stood there, helpless, watching the insects eat the stalks of wheat that were supposed to keep your family alive through the winter. Now, the snow has come. There is no grain in the storehouse. There are no vegetables in the cellar. The hunger is not a sensation anymore. It is a roommate. It lives in your house. It wakes you up in the middle of the night. It is a dull, constant ache in the center of your body that never goes away. You have watched your family change. Your father, once a strong man who could carry an ox yoke across his shoulders, now sits by the empty hearth, staring at the wall, too weak to speak. Your mother boils water with a few smooth stones in it, pretending it is soup, just to give the children something warm to hold in their stomachs. Last week, you saw the worst of it. Your neighbors began eating what is called guanyin soil. It is white clay. It looks like flour. When you mix it with water, it forms a paste that feels like food. It fills the belly. It stops the hunger pangs for a few hours. But it is a lie. The clay cannot be digested. It sits in the gut, turning into stone. It blocks the intestines. You watched your neighbor die screaming as the soil he ate turned to concrete inside him. And yet, you considered eating it too. That is what hunger does. It takes your reason and breaks it over its knee. You are the eldest son. In your culture, this means the weight of the family rests on your shoulders. You are supposed to be the provider, the protector. But you have failed. You have nothing to trade, no land, no money, no skills. You have eaten the bark off the elm trees. You are starving. And in the silence of the night, you hear the whisper. It is not a secret. It is a legend passed down in whispers among the poor for centuries. The legend of the golden rice bowl. They say that in the capital, behind the high red walls, there is a place where no one ever goes hungry. They say the emperor's servants eat white rice every day, bowls of it, steaming and pure. They say they wear silk so thick the wind cannot touch them. They say that if a son enters the palace, he can send silver back to his village. He can save his father. He can feed his brothers. He can turn the family's fate from ash to gold. But the price is your manhood. You look at your hands. They are cracked, the dirt ground into the skin so deep it will never wash out. You look at your mother's gaunt face. You look at the small mound of earth in the yard where your baby sister was buried 3 days ago. And you make the choice. You will trade your future for their present. You will trade your flesh for their survival. The morning you leave is silent. There are no tearful goodbyes because tears require moisture, and you are all dehydrated. Your father refuses to look at you. He knows what you are going to do. He is ashamed that he cannot feed you, ashamed that his son must become a cripple to save him. But he does not stop you. He cannot. You walk. You walk for days across the frozen plain, joining a stream of other desperate souls heading toward the city. The wind howls, kicking up dust that stings your eyes. You sleep in ditches, huddled together with strangers for warmth. You do not speak of where you are going. It is understood. You are all walking toward the same knife. When you finally see the walls of Beijing, they look like a mountain range made of brick, and inside them, the forbidden city rises, 30 feet high, the color of dried blood, capped with gold tiles that shine even under the gray winter sky. It looks impenetrable. It looks like a beast that demands a sacrifice. You are not looking for glory. You are looking for a meal. You wrap your thin coat tighter around your chest and head toward the northern district, to the dark alleys where the shadow trade happens. You are looking for the Daozi Jiang, the knife master. You find the hut at the end of a narrow, twisting lane. It looks ordinary, indistinguishable from the other gray brick buildings. But the snow around the door is melted, hinting at the intense heat inside. And there is a smell. Even in the freezing air, you can smell it. It is sharp and acidic. It smells of boiling vinegar, strong peppers, and underneath it all, the faint copper tang of old blood. You knock. The sound is swallowed by the wind. The door opens, and a man stands there. He is older, his face lined like a map of suffering, his eyes flat and devoid of emotion. He is not a doctor. He is a craftsman. His material is human flesh. He looks you up and down, assessing you not as a person, but as livestock. He checks your frame. Are you too thin? Will you die of shock? He grabs your jaw and forces your mouth open to look at your tongue. He is calculating the odds of his payment. You tell him you want to be purified. You want to serve. He nods and lets you in. The heat hits you like a physical blow. The room is stiflingly hot, heated by a large coal stove in the center. After the biting cold outside, the warmth makes you dizzy. The smell is overpowering here. On a low table you see the tools. They are simple, terrifyingly so. A curved knife shaped like a sickle, gleaming in the dim light, a few pewter bowls, a bundle of white goose quills, sheets of rough yellowish paper. It looks like a kitchen, but you know it is an abattoir. The knife master sits down and tells you the price. 6 taels of silver. Your heart stops. 6 taels is a fortune. If you had 6 taels, you would be home right now, buying grain for your family. You would be getting married. You would be whole. The master sees the panic in your eyes. He expects it. He offers you the deal. You can pay later. If you survive, and if you get hired by the palace, you will pay him back from your wages. but the interest will be crushing. You will belong to him until the debt is paid. You will be his servant before you are the emperor's servant. You will wash his clothes, scrub his floors, and give him your first year's earnings. You agree. You nod your head because you have no other currency. Then he pushes a piece of paper toward you. The Shengxi Wenshu, the contract of life and death. He dips a brush in heavy black ink and hands it to you. He reads the terms aloud, his voice monotone, reciting words he has said 1,000 times to 1,000 boys. I, the applicant, choose this surgery of my own free will. I have no other means of livelihood. I acknowledge that if I die during the procedure or from the infection that follows, the knife master is not responsible. My family cannot claim blood money. My death is my own doing. The words hang in the hot air. You are signing your own death warrant. You are absolving this man of your murder before he even touches you. You think of running. The door is right there. You could turn around, walk out into the cold, and freeze to death under a bridge. It would be a cleaner death. But then you remember your mother's eyes. You remember the silence of the house. You press your thumb into the red clay paste and stamp the paper. The deal is struck. You have sold your body to chance, but you are not ready yet. The master shakes his head. You cannot be cut with a full stomach. Not that your stomach is full, but it must be empty. Completely, violently empty. They take you to a small side room. It is essentially a cell. There is a wooden platform to sleep on, and nothing else. They lock the door. For the next few days, you exist in a state of suspended animation. You are not allowed to eat, not a grain of rice, not a scrap of vegetable. You are given only minimal water, just enough to keep your heart beating, but not enough to fill your bladder. They need your intestines to be clear. They need your system to be quiet. They explain, with cold practicality, that after the surgery, you will not be able to move your bowels for days. If you do, the pain would be lethal, and the filth would infect the wound and kill you. So, you must be purged. The hunger you felt in the village returns, but now it is sharpened by terror. You sit in the dark, shivering. You can hear the sounds of the city outside, carts rolling, vendors shouting, dogs barking. Life is continuing just a few feet away, but you are separated from it by a wall and a choice. You are in a waiting room between life and death. Your mind begins to play tricks on you. In the silence, you start to imagine the pain. You look at your body, at the parts of you that make you a man, and you try to say goodbye to them. It is a strange, mourning process. You realize that you will never be a father. You will never hold a son and know he is of your blood. You are ending your line. You are becoming a dead end on the family tree. The guilt washes over you, heavier than the hunger. Every day an apprentice comes to check on you. He is young, perhaps your age, but his eyes are hard. He has seen hundreds of boys like you. Most of them die. He asks if you have moved your bowels. He checks your pulse. He is indifferent. To him, you are just raw material waiting to be processed. By the third day, you are weak. Your head swims when you stand up. Your stomach has twisted into a tight, aching knot. You feel light, almost ghostly. This weakness is intentional. A weak man struggles less. A weak man faints easier, and fainting is the only mercy you will get. You sit in the darkness, wrapping your arms around your bony knees, and you wait. You wait for the footsteps. You wait for the key in the lock. You wait for the end of the life you knew. The door to your cell opens. Light floods into the darkness, stinging your eyes after days of shadows. An apprentice stands there. He does not speak. He simply gestures with a jerk of his chin. It is time. You try to stand, but your legs are weak from hunger. You stumble, catching yourself against the rough wooden wall. The apprentice grabs your arm, his grip firm and impersonal, and guides you out. You are led back into the main room, the room you saw on your first day. The atmosphere has changed. The air is thick, heavy, and incredibly hot. The coal stove in the center of the room has been stoked until the iron glows a dull, menacing red. The heat hits you like a physical wall. It smells of boiling vinegar, aromatic herbs, and something metallic that makes your stomach turn. They keep the room this hot for a reason. They call it preventing wind evil, what we would call shock. They need to keep your blood flowing. They need to keep you from freezing when your body goes into trauma. They strip you of your clothes. You stand naked in the stifling heat, yet you are shivering, not from cold, but from a terror so deep it feels like it is vibrating in your marrow. You look down at your body, the body your mother gave you, the body that has worked the fields, and you realize this is the last time you will ever see it whole. They lead you to the kang, a raised bed made of brick with a fire burning underneath it. It is covered with an oilcloth that is stained with dark, overlapping rings of old fluids. There is a hole cut in the center. They tell you to lie down. Two apprentices move in with practiced efficiency. They grab your legs and pull them wide apart. They bind your ankles to heavy wooden blocks at the end of the bed. They bind your wrists to the frame. They wrap leather straps around your waist and thighs, pulling them tight, pinning you to the heated brick. The leather digs into your skin. You are completely immobilized. You are spread open, vulnerable, displayed for the knife. The knife master approaches. He is holding a bowl. Steam rises from it, carrying a sharp, pungent scent. It is pepper soup, hot, spicy pepper soup. He tells you to drink. You drink it greedily, thinking it is water, thinking it is relief. But it burns. It sears your throat, making you cough, making your eyes water. It is not anesthesia. There is no opium here. There is no wine to dull your senses. The master believes that if you are drugged, you cannot answer his questions. He believes you need to be awake to prove your will. He believes that pain is part of the transformation. The pepper soup is a trick. It burns your mouth and throat, constricting the blood vessels, distracting your senses for a brief moment. But it will do nothing for what is about to happen to your body. The master stands over you. He picks up the knife. It is small, curved like a sickle, and terrifyingly sharp. He cleans it in the boiling vinegar. The smell of the acid hits your nose, mixing with the smell of your own fierce sweat. The room goes silent. The apprentices stop moving. The only sound is the crackle of the coal in the stove. The master leans in. He looks into your eyes, searching for a flicker of doubt. He asks the questions, the ritual questions. Do you regret this? You have to answer. You have to speak through the fear that is choking you. You have to give him permission to mutilate you. No, you whisper. Your voice sounds foreign to you. Are you sure? Yes. If you die, is it your own doing? Yes. He nods. He looks at the apprentices. He says one word. Cut. The world contracts to the point of that blade. There is no slow fade into unconsciousness. There is only the sudden, blinding reality of the knife. The master is fast. He has to be. Speed is the only mercy he can offer you. He does not cut tentatively. He moves with the precision of a butcher who has performed this act 1,000 times. The first stroke is for the testes. The pain is not sharp. It is heavy, a sickening, deep agony that rolls up from your groin and punches the air out of your lungs. It feels as if your insides are being pulled out through the bottom of your body. You try to scream, but your throat is constricted by the pepper soup, and your chest is crushed by the straps. Your body thrashes against the bindings, muscles spasming in a primal, useless attempt to escape. But he is not done. He does not stop to check on you. He grabs the remaining flesh, the shaft, and makes the second cut. This pain is different. It is searing. It is white-hot. It feels like molten lead has been poured directly into your exposed nerves. Your vision goes white. The room, the heat, the smell of vinegar, it all vanishes, replaced by a universe of pure, unadulterated suffering. You might pass out. Many do. But the shock of the trauma often keeps the mind terrifyingly awake, trapping you in the present moment where every second stretches into an hour. The blood comes fast. It smells metallic and rich in the overheated room. But the master is ready. He does not use stitches. Stitches would seal the skin but trap the infection. Instead, he applies a specific paper soaked in cold water, carefully prepared to shock the blood vessels into closing. He presses it hard against the raw, open wound. The pressure sends fresh waves of agony through your pelvis, a dull, crushing weight on top of the sharp, slicing fire. You hang limp in the straps. You are weeping, not crying, but weeping. Tears running down your temples into your ears, your body shaking with the aftershocks of the trauma. You are no longer a man. You are something else. The transaction is done. You have been unmade. Then comes the part that history books rarely mention, the detail that makes this process a true endurance of horror. The surgery is over, but the danger has just begun. The wound will try to heal. The body, in its desperation to survive, will try to scab over and close the hole. But if the opening to your urethra seals shut, you will die. Your bladder will fill, your kidneys will fail, and you will perish from uremic poisoning within days. It is a horrific way to die, swelling up with your own waste until you burst. So the master picks up a small object from the table. Sometimes it is a pewter nail. Sometimes it is a bundle of white goose quills, hollowed out to act as a spigot. He leans over your ruined body. He finds the raw, bleeding opening where your life used to be, and he shoves the plug inside. The sensation is indescribable. It is an intrusion into a wound that is already screaming. It feels like a spike being driven into the core of your body. This plug is your lifeline. It is the only thing keeping the channel open. It must stay there, lodged deep inside you for 3 days. They pack the wound with bandages soaked in sesame oil and pepper powder. The bandage is wrapped tight, compressing everything, turning your lower body into a single throbbing block of pain. The apprentices step in. They untie the ropes. Your limbs, numb from the binding, flop uselessly onto the bed. They do not let you rest. They lift you, dragging your dead weight off the brick bed. For 2 hours, the apprentices march you around the room. They support your arms, forcing you to walk, step by agonizing step. Walk, they order. Walk or you die. They need the blood to circulate. They need to ensure you haven't gone into fatal shock. You stumble, your legs trembling, leaving small droplets of blood on the floor. You are a marionette with cut strings, kept moving only by the grip of these strangers. Finally, they let you stop. They carry you to a side room, darker than the operating theater, and lay you on a wooden plank. They do not give you a pillow. They do not give you a blanket. They simply leave you there. And now, the real torture begins. The next 3 days are known as the passage of hell. The challenge is not the pain, though the pain is constant, throbbing in time with your heartbeat. The challenge is thirst. You have lost blood. Your body is screaming for fluids to replace what was spilled. Your throat is parched. Your tongue swells in your mouth until it feels like a piece of dry leather. You beg the apprentices for water. You plead. You promise them silver you don't have. You cry dry, heaving sobs. But they refuse. Not a drop, they say. Their faces are stony. They are not being cruel. They are trying to save you. If you drink, your body will produce urine. If you produce urine, your bladder will fill. With the plug jammed in your urethra and the wound swollen shut, you cannot urinate. The pressure would build up behind the plug. It would burst the healing tissue. It would force urine into your bloodstream. It would kill you in hours. So you must lie there, dehydrating, while your body burns with fever. You are dying of thirst to save your life. Time loses its meaning. Day and night bleed together in the windowless room. The smell of your own body begins to rise. The smell of old blood, of sweat, of the sesame oil, and the faint sweet scent of infection. You drift into delirium. The thirst becomes a hallucinogenic force. You see your village in the summer. You see the creek where you used to catch fish. You can hear the water rushing over the stones. It is so clear, so cool. You see your mother standing in the doorway, holding a ladle of cool well water. The condensation drips off the side of the ladle. You reach for it, your hand clawing at the empty air, your cracked lips shaping the word water. But she dissolves into shadows. You wake up screaming silently, your tongue stuck to the roof of your mouth. The pain in your groin is a dull, heavy anchor, keeping you tethered to the plank. You wonder if you are already dead. You wonder if this is hell. The apprentices come in periodically to check the bandages. They do not change them. They only check for the swelling disease. If the area around the wound turns black and swells like a rotten melon, they know it is over. They will stop checking. They will just wait for you to stop breathing so they can clear the plank for the next customer. But if you are lucky or cursed, the swelling stays red, not black. You survive the first night, then the second. By the third day, you are barely human. You are a husk of pain and longing. You have forgotten why you did this. You have forgotten the forbidden city. You only want one thing, for the plug to come out. The morning of the third day arrives. The door opens. The knife master returns. He looks at you. You are trembling, your eyes rolled back in your head. He nods. It is time. This is the moment of truth. This is the moment that decides if you are a eunuch or a corpse. The master prepares a basin. He pulls back the crusty, blood-soaked bandages. The smell is overpowering now, raw and sickly. He grips the end of the goose quill plug sticking out of your body. There is no countdown. He pulls it out in one swift motion. The pain sparks white again, tearing at the healing granulations inside the urethra. You gasp, your back arching off the plank. But you don't care about the pain. You are waiting for the sound. The master steps back and waits. The room goes silent. The apprentices lean in. You strain. Your bladder is full, aching with 3 days of held waste. You push, terrified that nothing will happen, terrified that the channel has collapsed, terrified that the swelling has sealed you shut forever. And then you hear it. A gush. The sound of liquid hitting the basin. It is a strong, steady stream. It washes away the clotted blood and the debris. To anyone else, it is just urine. To you, in that dark, reeking room, it is the most beautiful sound in the world. It is the sound of life. The master grunts. He lives. You collapse back onto the wood. Tears finally come, hot and stinging. You have survived. You are alive. But as the relief washes over you, a colder realization settles in your gut. The man who walked into this hut 3 days ago is gone. He died on that brick bed. The person lying here now is something else. You have paid the price. You have been hollowed out. And now you belong to the emperor. You survive. You stand up from the wooden plank, shaky and pale, drinking water that tastes sweeter than the finest wine. You pay your debt to the knife master, signing away your future wages. But as you prepare to leave the hut, to walk out into the winter sun that you haven't seen in weeks, there is one final transaction. The master hands you a container. It is a small earthen jar, sealed with red paper and wax. Inside, floating in a solution of alcohol and lime, is what was taken from you. They call it the bow, the treasure. You might think you would want to run from it, to bury it in the frozen earth, to forget the source of your agony. But you do not. You cradle that jar with more tenderness than you would a bag of gold. To you, it is not medical waste. It is your soul. It is your passport to the afterlife. In your culture, the body must be whole to enter the realm of the ancestors. If you are buried without your parts, you will appear before your ancestors mutilated. You will be rejected. You will be reborn in the next life as a mule or a female or something even lower. To return to the cycle of reincarnation as a man, you must have your treasure when you die. It must be placed in your coffin, sewn back to your body in death, restoring the integrity you sold in life. So you keep the jar. You will guard it for the rest of your life. You will carry it with you into the palace, hiding it in the folds of your robe. You will hoist it onto a high shelf in your cramped quarters, covering it with a red cloth. You will bow to it every morning. You will spend your wages buying better jars, better preservatives, terrified that the alcohol might evaporate and leave your soul to rot. It is a gruesome paradox. You destroyed your manhood to survive, yet you worship the preserved remains of it to save your soul. You are a man protecting his own ghost in a jar, but the jar is a relic of the past. Your present is about to change in ways the legends never mentioned. You walk through the gates of the forbidden city. You have crossed the threshold. The hunger of the village is gone, replaced by the warmth of the palace. You are fed. You are clothed. You have achieved the golden rice bowl. But as the months pass, the fire inside you cools. The biological transformation begins. It is slow, insidious, and impossible to hide. Your voice, which was beginning to deepen into a man's resonance, cracks. It rises, settling into a high, thin register that sounds like a perpetual adolescent or a woman with a cold. You learn to speak softly to hide it, but everyone knows. When you shout, you sound like a crow. The hair on your face stops growing. The hair on your head becomes brittle. Your skin becomes soft, pale, and wrinkled, aging faster than it should. You lose muscle mass. You become doughy. You look in the bronze mirror, and you do not recognize the face staring back. It is a face that has stopped in time, frozen between youth and age. And there is something else, something humiliating that the storytellers in the village never warned you about. The surgery was crude. The removal of the plug allowed you to live, but the muscles that control your bladder, the sphincter, have been permanently damaged. You cannot hold your water. When you laugh, when you cough, when you sleep, urine leaks from you. It is a slow, constant trickle. You try to hide it. You wear thick layers of cloth around your waist, changing them constantly. You use heavy perfumes, sachets of musk and herbs, tucking them into your robes. But the smell follows you. It permeates your clothes. It settles in your room. It hangs in the air around you like a fog. In the palace, behind your back, the officials and maids call you Saozi, the stinking ones. You see them wrinkle their noses when you pass. You see the emperor turn his head away when you lean in to pour tea. You have traded your dignity for rice, and now you must wear your shame like a second skin. You have become a creature of the in-between, neither man nor woman, accepted by neither, feared by some, and reviled by most. You thought the palace would be a place of power. You thought you would be the one wearing the dragon robes, whispering in the emperor's ear, moving armies with a stroke of a brush. You were wrong. For the first 10 years, you are not a master. You are a slave. You are invisible machinery. You scrub floors until your knuckles bleed. You carry night soil buckets heavier than the plow you left behind. You stand perfectly still in the corners of freezing courtyards for hours, waiting for a command that might never come. If you move, if you cough, if you sneeze, you are beaten. And the cruelty comes from your own kind. The older eunuchs, the grand eunuchs in their silk robes, are not mentors. They are tormentors. They were once like you, starving, scared boys from the village. But the palace has twisted them. They have no families to love, no children to raise. Their emotional world has collapsed inward. They fill the void with greed and sadism. They beat you for minor mistakes. They humiliate you for sport. They take your wages as instruction fees. You learn that to survive here, you must become hard. You must kill the part of you that feels pity. You watch the innocence die in your own eyes, replaced by a cold, calculating stare. You realize that the surgery didn't just cut your body, it severed your connection to humanity. Yet, the human need for connection is stubborn. It grows even in the dark. To survive the profound loneliness, you and the other eunuchs engage in a tragic pantomime of normal life. You form shadow families. You might pair up with a palace maid, another lonely soul trapped in the walls. You become vegetable husband and wife. You eat together. You sew for each other. You sleep near each other. You cannot be lovers in the physical sense, but you cling to the emotional shape of a marriage. You pretend. You play house in the shadow of the throne. You adopt younger eunuchs as sons. You force them to call you father. You leave them your wealth when you die. You build a fake lineage to replace the real one you cut away. It is a play acting of domestic life, performed by broken actors on a golden stage. Decades pass. You rise in the ranks. You gain weight. You gain influence. You send silver home to your village, fulfilling your promise. Your brothers build great stone houses. They name their sons after you. They burn incense for your health. But you never see them. You are a legend to them, a mythical uncle who sends money, not a brother who can be held. You are a ghost who haunts the halls of emperors. You watch the dynasties rise and fall. You watch princes become kings and kings become dust. And you remain, the silent observer, the keeper of secrets, the stinking one in the corner. And then the end comes. You grow old. You become useless to the emperor. The palace has no room for broken tools. The Forbidden City is a place for the living, not the dying. Sickness and death are considered inauspicious. You are expelled. This is the final betrayal. After 50 years of service, after giving your flesh and your life, you are turned out. You pack your meager belongings. You take down the jar from the high shelf, the treasure you have guarded with your life. You walk out of the Forbidden City, back into the world that you left as a boy. But the world has forgotten you. Your family is dead or distant. The nephews who spent your money do not want a stinking one living in their fine house. The village is a stranger to you. You have nowhere to go. So you go to the temples. Scattered around the outskirts of Beijing are temples built specifically for old eunuchs. They are places of shadows and dust. You use your life savings to buy a small room there. You spend your last days huddled with other broken men. You sit in the courtyard, warming your thin bones in the weak winter sun. You talk in high, cracking voices about the glory days inside the walls. You talk about the food you tasted, the secrets you heard, the silk you wore. You show each other your jars, comparing the clarity of the alcohol, the quality of the seal. But mostly, you wait. You wait for death. When the end finally arrives, you are not afraid. You are relieved. You have your coffin ready. And most importantly, you have your jar. You instruct the burying master carefully, gripping his arm with your dying hand. Your voice is a whisper, terrified and hopeful. Place it between my legs, you say. Sew it back on. Make me whole. In the darkness of the grave, you are finally restored. The pain of the knife, the thirst of the recovery, the humiliation of the leaking bladder, the lifetime of servitude, it all falls away. You can finally go to meet your ancestors. You can finally look your father in the eye. You can finally tell them that you saved the family. You paid the price in full. The empire fell long ago. The Forbidden City is now a museum. Tourists walk through the courtyards where you once stood freezing in the dark. They take pictures of the throne rooms, marveling at the gold and the red lacquer. They do not smell the vinegar and the blood. They do not hear the screams of the boys in the huts. The knife master's home is gone, replaced by modern roads and high-rises. The jars are lost to dust and time, buried in forgotten graves or smashed by revolutions. But if you listen closely on a quiet winter night in Beijing, when the wind howls down from the north, cutting through the heavy coats of the living, you can almost hear them. The whispers of the boys who stood by the red walls, the boys who were hungry, the boys who made the ultimate trade. They remind us of a truth we often forget in our comfortable lives, that survival is not free, that power is always borrowed, and that sometimes the things we sacrifice to stay alive are the very things that make life worth living. Sleep well, and be grateful for the wholeness of your own body. Be grateful that when you wake up tomorrow, you are simply you.